All right, welcome to the live stream. Welcome, Apex Predator, Invino, Chemistry, and E. coli. G'day, how's it going? Now, been thinking some things through here. Been doing a lot of background analysis on XLM versus BTC and what it means and how this is going to progress and what we are seeing now and what we can expect. So I'm going to start off with the Bitcoin chart. And I think it's very important that we do this because I think it's going to be valuable as it could be. Welcome, Quarter. So the reason I'm doing this stream today is I'm not worried about the price drop. To me, we are at such cheap prices right now that very soon it won't make a difference. Now, first of all, I want to talk about Bitcoin. So I'm going to get into a couple of things first relating to Bitcoin and some of my findings after studying the XLM BTC chart and just the general meaning behind those charts rather than what I've been saying in terms of XLM versus BTC, in terms of XLM beating BTC up, right? It's not that simple. I have found some evidence to suggest that it's not so much about how low BTC is going, okay? Because we may be, and if you look at my current count, I'm about to share my screen, right? So I'm doing that now, sharing my screen, right? So this is the Bitcoin chart, right? Now, this is a B wave top, okay? So going back just a little bit further back, I want to show you something, right? So being an expanded B wave, right? I know I've got my C down here. That doesn't mean anything. C wave could end right here, right? And I'll explain to you why in a sec, right? Now, due to inflationary pressures, due to the reason why Bitcoin went up in the first place, right? In 2008, all the money printing that was caused by the Fed due to the bubble bursting, which they created themselves, right? Which was a global effort to basically money print the hell out of everything, to bail out the banks, to bail out basically everyone who they decided to bail out, right? There were certain banks that they allowed to fail, which weren't part of their agenda. So the thing to me right now that is important is to understand why this is going up in the first place, okay? So why is this B wave so strong? Okay, so I believe it's to do with the same kind of thing and the same kind of behavior has been going on for a long time, right? So if we go back for a second to wave 4, right? To wave 4 of wave 1, okay? You can see what starts to happen after the initial reaction in Bitcoin, right? You get a wave A, okay? The wave A is the strongest move down, right? Same thing happened here. Now, I'm going to present this view, right? But I'm not going to explain what this means on XLM BTC chart because I have something reserved for members only that will actually change their perspective on XLM and what it means for the future, right? This stream is about validating Bitcoin as the leader of cryptos, right? And simply using some logic and also something that I discovered by analyzing the XLM BTC charts. Okay, so I will continue in just a second. Let me see who else is coming in. Welcome, Matthew Fraser. 4-hour drive. Yeah, I thought that you might be able to tune in on that one. That's why I decided that it's a good idea to do this now, because it's also going to benefit. It's going to sort of lead the way into the member stuff. So happy that you could join. So there's a couple of things that I had to think about in relation to what Bitcoin is and what it means for altcoins. So there's a lot of people out there that continue to apply pressure to the analysis, right? And that's fine, but at the same time, I have to see it on the chart, and there has to be extensive research done in order to validate these movements, right? So we have to understand the past, understand the future, and especially for Bitcoin, it's been one of these situations where people extrapolate, and I can see why they do that, why the extrapolation occurs. And simply put, it's because of that inflationary pressure that is placed upon the monetary system, which Bitcoin is an alternative to. But it's not just Bitcoin, it's going to spur a whole bunch of selected coins, right? Ones that actually have true value and true meaning to go very high and much more gains percentage-wise in comparison to Bitcoin, especially if you're trying to get into Bitcoin around the levels that we're currently at. There are definitely some coins out there, including XLM, which are going to present massive, massive, massive percentage gains in comparison to Bitcoin. Okay. So I've decided to take a different route, to different approach to how I apply Arias Wave to cryptos versus, say, for example, the euro and the US dollar, right? Because it's a different ball game. Okay, so I've done some research and I've come up with this new way of looking at things, right? So I'll get to that in just a sec. Just want to see what's up. Hi, Johnny P. Hi, FS Truth. Okay. So basically, I'm going to take away, and this is purely because of some research I've been doing recently. I'm going to take away the whole idea that XLM is going to whoop Bitcoin's ass. Right now, I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but that does not mean that Bitcoin is not going to continue to rise. Okay. So that's the whole point of what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So in terms of the pattern itself, what we're seeing now, I think that FS Truth be right in what he says. They try to fear us out. And I think that's all part of the plan. I think that's this whole thing that's happening now with, you know, the current crisis is designed to put the fear into people, right? To put the doubt into people. At the same time, the Fed is pulling the levers, right? We know that Fed Powell admitted even on 60 Minutes that they have unlimited powers now, right? They started to get these powers after 9/11, and then they used it to fill the bubble, and the GFC was a result of that. But I believe that's just simply put the first 1-2 pattern. Okay, so now we're looking at the second 1-2 pattern since those lows, 2009, 1 all the way up to 2018, and now we're working in 2. But because we're in a wave 3, there are some considerations that need to be made about what's going on here. And that's what I want to get into. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that Bitcoin is going to continue to rise. It's not going to fall much further from where it is. In fact, I'm going to show you the count. The new count is very similar to the XLM count, okay? And it's not about the short term. Forget about the short term. Do not margin trade this. There is no need to margin trade. Well, if you can, you can. If you don't need to because of what's going to happen. Okay, so let's go back to the chart for a second, right? So we have our wave A, and then you had our B, right? Now have a look at the C. Small c, big D, right? Small e. Okay, why did that happen, right? And that is the same thing that is a very common theme in Bitcoin. Why? Because of inflationary pressures, right? The bond yields are turning for a reason, right? They are saying they're going to lift interest rates, but that's not their choice. The market is dictating what is happening, right? And the only way they can feed this beast, even if they raise interest rates, the only way they can feed this beast that they've created is to keep printing more money. That is the answer to everything. That's the only tool they have left in their tool belt, right? And so basically, these corrections are getting more expanded as we go on. So before we had the E wave that ended below the highs, and that's just wave 4, but these are fractal patterns, so they repeat at all degrees of trend. The only difference is now we are in a wave 2. So that means this C wave is also going to be a small C wave, and the D wave should be then, you know, continuing to the upside and expanding. But this time we're already above the last high. We're already above that high. Okay. So therefore, to me, that just means that we're going to keep expanding, expanding, expanding. And it doesn't matter what happens to the Dow Jones. That's doesn't mean anything anymore, not in crypto world, right? I mean, if you look at what happened to the Dow Jones, in crypto world, that would only represent sorry, one sec. That would only represent a 64% drop, which then was followed by an increase of 1,600% roughly, right? So what does the Dow Jones mean for cryptos? It doesn't mean anything, right? Because of the inflationary pressures. So therefore, I'm taking a different approach, and I'm not going to say anything bad about Bitcoin. But what's going to happen is that other coins are going to increase percentage-wise much faster than Bitcoin. Because if you buy Bitcoin at 30,000, it will move up, but other coins, because they're cheaper, they are basically in this, they're going to go for a big run, okay? A massive run. So even though I can call this a bull market rally, it's still like a bull market because of that inflationary pressure, right? So to me, it comes back down to that. This C wave is just a little blip in the system, and we're about to see it end shortly, I believe. And that's because I have taken a different approach in how I observe any chart that's against BTC. Okay. Welcome, Greg K. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome, David. And welcome, Brandon. So basically, the deal here is that it's not about selling. Okay, it's not about selling at all. It's about buying at the right time. If you want to add more, there are certain points where you should add more, and there are certain points where where it's going to come back down anyway for a wave like E, for example, right? Just like back here, right? You went up for a B. Okay, now we're in a C. So if you look back down here, this is a C, right? And then basically, you buy here where we are now, right? Are you going to pick the exact low of where you buy? Not necessary, because we're going to see an expansion to the upside of the correction. Okay, when you see a completed D, wait for the drop, buy more, right? If you really want to go for the sell, try it. Like, learn Arias wave and learn how the waves work, and then you can do that. But to me, it'd just be like, just buy some more, right? But the thing is, now we're moving into a wave 3, okay? A wave 3, meaning bigger than what you've seen previously. This is how crazy they have to print more money moving forward than they ever had in an economy that is literally in free fall, right? This economy around the world, the global economy, is in free fall. The only thing they can do to make things look half normal is to prop it up using excessive money printing and manipulation of data, manipulation of jobs data, and all sorts of other metrics they use to measure, consumer price index, all that sort of stuff, right? So basically, like Gregory Marino says, it's just one big giant freak show, right? Because this thing is never going down. So it's part of why I made the bullish series. But I believe that cryptos will fight against the US dollar. Even if the US dollar makes a final high, cryptos will fight against that pressure, because they're going to be printing the hell out of that US dollar during that time anyway. So we may see maybe another corrective move, which is what we're about to see. Okay. So it'll still fight against the current of the US dollar, because what's a US dollar compared to a Bitcoin, right? But it gets even more interesting when you look at what's going to happen in XLM. Okay. Now, I'm only going to reserve that content because I've done some extensive research only for members, because there's a couple of things in there that will basically, it's insane, right? It's just something that I noticed by looking at the waves, changing the wave count due to basically, going down to the smallest degree and seeing what is in store for the world. It is going to be absolutely insane, right? So, okay, so let's move in now to this pattern that we're seeing in Bitcoin. So instead of saying, oh, this is just the beginning of a wave C down, well, hang on a minute, this is just the end of the wave C down in progress, right? In progress. So now I did say I'll have to go to the hourly. So basically, I changed this count up here to a zigzag one, right? It's a zigzag one followed by a sharp 2. That means that explains, right? As I mentioned in my previous video, this can't be a wave 3 because it's got this thing in the middle. Yeah, it's a zigzag. That's why. So that made me think, well, hang on the XLM chart, I've started to notice this pattern. So why doesn't it apply to Bitcoin if everything moves roughly in tandem with each other, right? Because of these inflationary pressures, because of the agendas of the central banks and the digital yuan, which will spur the digital US dollar, et cetera, right? So this is a weak wave C, right? It's actually not going to last, right? It's actually piss weak, right? So we have the 2 and the 4 in place already. So we can just go to the highs and draw the trend line as such, right? Now, that means that this final move is a zigzag as well, which means it only had to break, which it just broke the E wave, start of E wave, basically only has to make another low, right? And then that could be the end of the correction. It could end at the midpoint of the channel, drawn from 2 to 4, and then stretch down to number 3, right? It could probably go to the midway point, break the new low, make a new low, and just hit that midpoint. If we see a zigzag there, a sharpish zigzag for the finished product, I believe that this thing will continue to move upwards, right? So I need to get this out the way first before we continue to XLM, because obviously now, because of the analysis with the cross, pairs with XLM with BTC, right? This is going to have to spur a series of videos that are all connected to BTC. Every coin against BTC. So I was thinking of making a bullish series 2.0, but I may call it something different, crypto bullish series, something like that. But it's going to be coming soon. But at this stage, it's looking like it's members only. But I will give you the USD interpretations for sure, because most people trade in those pairs anyway. It's just that there's more to it than that. So therefore, let's just leave it at that for now. So what wave, Matthew says, Matthew's a member, by the way, what wave of the current C wave is BTC in? Wave 5. Okay, wave 5, and that's it. The last wave of wave C. Okay. This is not going to go much lower. I can see a complete, right, type 1 weak wave C. By reanalyzing, the first move looks like a zigzag. Wave 3 looks like a zigzag. After wave 4 finished, this move down looks like a sharp zigzag. So as soon as we get close to those lows and we see a zigzag formation, if you use your Arias wave abilities there, you could see a zigzag. Most likely that will be the same length as wave 1, right? So where does that go? Roughly to the midpoint of the channel. Okay, so that's what I think is happening on BTC. Well, at the moment, yeah, I've moved to USDC. If I have to move to USDC, I will. At the moment, I'm in the market. I see no reason not to be. So XLM, we saw the low, we got in. Sure, it moved down a bit lower, but I believe that this is all going to go vertical very soon. It's basically going to go vertical very soon. So if most people think that this is going to keep falling, like I saw basically an article in the local paper saying crypto, massacre, or crypto, is getting slaughtered, whatever, that's a buying signal, right? That's a buying signal. As soon as the media say that it's it's getting slaughtered, it's usually the bottom, right? As soon as the media says, oh, Bitcoin is on a tear, it's all-time highs, that's when people get in. Usually the masses get in. By the time they say that it's a massacre, that's basically a buying signal or close to, right? So the same pattern I see on Bitcoin is the same pattern I'm seeing on XLM. So let's switch over to the XLM chart for a moment, and I'll get to some questions in just a second. Right, so these prices are rock bottom prices. If you don't get in now, then you could just try and keep waiting for that low to go lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. But as I said to you before, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 was here, and then we're having a zigzag pattern. So wave A was this size, wave C is a bit longer. Okay, because we're getting the panic selling. Wave C's can be longer than wave A. There's no rule against it, right? So looking at BTC gives an indication to what this is, right? So still keeping the same count that I had last time, A, B, 1, 2, 3. Hang on a sec. That 3 is not meant to be there. 1 second. 3, 4. Right, now I'll zoom in for this one. So basically what we have here is panic selling, right? Because of what's happening in Bitcoin, it's gone below the channel, right? But I don't think it means anything, right? We had a small wave 1 followed by a wave 2, a wave 3, an expanded wave 4, right? Which went to here. And the reason why I believe that now, that was a 335, and that was a zigzag 5 bounce. That's an end of wave 4. So we are in the last wave of this C wave, which started back at the highs up here. So yes, although C wave is a bit longer than wave A, well, I'm not expecting Bitcoin to go much lower. So I don't see any reason why XLM will go to bloody 10 cents like some people think, right? And if you look at the daily chart, okay, the daily, okay, this thing is oversold like you wouldn't believe, right? It is oversold like you wouldn't believe, okay? Now that channel was taken simply by using the end of wave E to down above wave A. I'll go back to that in a sec. Right, the channel was taken from basically wave E, end of wave 4, touching the top of wave A, down to wave D, and it's just gone below it. So yes, wave C is longer and looks scarier than wave A, but this is basically oversold. The market is in panic mode, but that's what they want, panic mode, right? So if you sell now, well, you'll basically be freaking out and missing out at the same time, right? You'll be reading that front page news thinking, yep, this is going down, but this is a buying opportunity, right? If you want confirmation, wait for a break at the 30 cent. Actually, it's not the 30 cent now. It's actually that last high to end of wave 4. So we need to see a bounce from very close to these prices. So 25 cents, above 25 cents. I believe we're in wave 5 right now. So of that wave C, wave V, which is wave 5 of wave C of wave 5. So basically, if you are worried right now, and if you are just looking at this market saying this is going down, basically a lot of selling is being bought by somebody, right? And those are the people who understand what's happening in the long term. Okay. So Bitcoin, I believe, is about to make a new low. Once that new low hits, and we check out the pattern at close degree, we should be able to make sense of, the pattern itself, but it is moving in 3 waves, right? So once you get 5 waves down in 3 waves, that's either the end of wave C or it's the beginning of wave C, right? Which means you'd have to see a deep correction, right? Because leading patterns have deep corrections, but this doesn't look like a leading pattern. It looks like a market with strength that tried to make a sharper wave C, because wave Cs are usually sharper, right? They don't do this kind of thing, but it's basically trying to produce the last patterns, and Bitcoin is the leader. So therefore, we're seeing wave 5 extend a little bit, wave C extend a little bit here. And that is probably freaking a lot of people out right now. Except if you look closer into what's happening here, right, you can see a 5-wave pattern after, I believe, wave 4 ended. And I can see a 5-wave move happening here, potentially complete, almost complete, or is complete. But we need to see a bounce back above 25 cents. Okay, but this is just a buying opportunity. I would not freak out one bit. I'm not selling anything, right? All I'm getting is more interest in Arius Wave because there is something more going on here. And as I've mentioned to you, inflation is rising. Okay, this is necessary correction to reset the RSI from oversold. Sorry, it's from overbought to oversold, right? On the daily. Okay, on the daily, have a look at the daily. Okay, we went from the B wave highs to overbought, right? We had to reset the RSI back to oversold in order for us to make the next move up. This is already oversold, right? Okay, so this is basically more oversold than what happened in March 2020, right? So this is basically almost done. Okay. Yes, we need to see Bitcoin make a new low. We need to find that zigzag pattern. We need to see a bounce. Yes, but this is not going to go much lower. Let's put it this way. The amount that we're going to see this thing climb, I'm not going to discuss it here. Okay. I'm not going to discuss it here at the moment until we see a bounce. And I can tell you right now, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Okay. So let's just take it step by step. Good morning, Joshua. And hello, Kabang. So 150 still on track. Believe me, you have no idea what's coming. I'm not going to give you any targets at the moment until I see a D and an E, and then we can take it from there, right? But to the members, I have something to share, which is relating to the BTC cross pairs and the evidence that is given by using Arius Wave on the pattern since inception of XLM. So it's just these little insights that actually make the most difference in what is actually a bull market. Even though it's a bear market rally, the inflationary pressures have turned this into an expanded correction, the kind of expanded correction that basically looks like a bull market anyway. Makes not much sense to Elliotians, but using RS Wave can actually just keep you on track and just understand where you're at, right? Where are we at? We're in a C. What's going to happen in the future? A D. And it's going to be different for each coin in terms of percentage, right? So it's the percentage factor here that we're looking at, right? That's why when people talk about, 27 cents, 20 cents, right? This is baby change compared to where we're going, right? Literally baby change. It is nothing. It's just nothing. Like, you have to understand what is going on across the board. Now, the bullish series does give you some clues, but now there's more stuff that is just crazy. It's just too crazy. That even if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Not going to talk about the XLM BTC charts anymore, simply because of I'd basically have to explain exactly what's on there. I'm just going to save that for members now, because even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me, and I'd probably get a bunch of heat anyway. So stuff that. So to me, right now, not freaking out. People who freak out lose, right? If you're expecting this to go to way new lows, then keep waiting, right? Wave C is longer. Yes, it is longer than wave A. Definitely longer, but the whole pattern is weak, and it's all based on BTC, right? BTC is calling the shots here, right? Back to the BTC chart. Yes, it's moving lower, making that C wave longer, right? But if you look at this pattern, right? So we'll go to the 15-minute chart. Let's have a quick look back here at this pattern on a 15-minute chart. All right. Okay. So the only change I can make on this particular chart, given the pattern, is potentially the B wave ended down here, and we had a CDE pattern, right? The CDE pattern, but it still ended. Wave 4 still ended there. Okay. Now here, what we're looking for is basically a sharp zigzag, right? Now we saw a sharp zigzag recently in wave 3. Now this is getting sharp because it broke the low. Now, interesting thing about Bitcoin going this far down this quickly means that it's probably getting close to a low, considering all the stops that will be hit, and the bounce back that should happen from here. In terms of the count, right? This looks like an extended wave 5 of a 5-wave move. If this is a simple, very simple correction here, it really doesn't look like a zigzag. That the last wave is far too long. It could be a very simple correction in there, right? So basically what I'm trying to say to you is this could be an A, B, C pattern like this. So now we're seeing potentially wave 5 in progress, and 1 and 3 similar in length, 5 be extended. This is a pretty big drop. So therefore, it's already broke the lows and potentially will head toward that midway point of the channel. And then I'd call it a day. I wouldn't be surprised if it bounced after that. And people be buying the dip. Welcome, new investors. There is actually a lot of stuff to be covered on the target, which I cannot talk about until we see D and E. But if you become a member, you'll understand the patterns by learning them. And once I deal with the creation of certain videos on the portal, it will explain what these XLM BTC chart actually means. And also we'll start investigating other coins in relation to BTC, which actually give away a lot of clues. They give away a ton of clues, and having a look a lot deeper recently, in recent days, I have found that there's a lot more going on than you think. So here comes the initial bounce from hitting the lows. So wouldn't be surprised if this just makes wave 4 of the 5th wave before we head down a little bit lower to that midway point there of the channel for the end of wave C. Okay. I wouldn't be listening to Marge Simpson. And I wouldn't be getting too crazy about Gemantria or whatever they call it. What do you mean I won't tell you how wave C finishes? I'm telling you, it's a zigzag wave 5 because wave 1 and 3 were zigzags, right? So it's a weak wave C, right? Do you know what wave C's typically look like? Do you want me to give you an example of what a wave C normally looks like, right? Like I said, go back to 2016, right? Go back to when wave 4 was correcting. We saw this massive wave A, right? So wave A was pretty big, in 2017 to 2018, right? But pretty big also in 2014, 15, right? Right. You see a 3-wave move up, and you see this C wave, right? Have a look at the sharpness of that move, right? Have a look at that. Okay. Right. Okay. So as time progresses, this C wave, look at it. It's not really that sharp, right? It's actually pretty weak. And if you look closely, wave 1's a 3-wave move. Wave 3 is a 3-wave move. What wave 5 is, is going to be a 3-wave move, right? It's already hit the new low. So this is already buy area, right? You can wait for confirmation. If you're buying Bitcoin, I would buy it at the break of 41,447. But there's a lot more money to be made in other coins because they're cheaper and the percentage gains are going to be much bigger, much larger, right? And that's why I'm putting out this new series for members only, because there's something that I need to give the members that they cannot see on the usual ideas. I have to do it for them. Okay. Well, I'm just telling you about the patterns. If you wanna look at levels and make up your own decisions on where it's going, that's fine. No problem. Tell Michael Saylor to wait before he injects $500 million into the market. Just tell him that he should wait a little longer, and then see what he tells you. So basically, we're at a point now where wave C looks almost complete, could be complete. We need to see a bounce, right? It's just messing around that area now in what I believe is looks like a wave 5. Right, you can see like this sharp move in the middle here. Yeah, very interesting. So keep an eye out for that one. I do not think Bitcoin is going to go much lower after discovering that it's basically got a weak wave C. Look at all previous wave Cs, they're not that deep. In fact, no correction is ever that deep apart from A waves. And we've already seen that happen back in 2017, 2018. And also happened previously. So the first correction is usually the deepest. The rest of them all expand to the upside. So that's why people extrapolate on Bitcoin. It's simply because they see a repeating pattern. Basically, we're seeing the same thing now, except this time we have more historical data on the alts. So to me, it just looks like we're going to see some pretty crazy price action soon, which will outperform Bitcoin percentage-wise. So I'm not going to try and call this bottom here. There's no point. We need to see a break because it's going to mess around this area for a bit, right? It's obviously broken a new low. That wave looks sharp, but then again, so does that wave. So unless, right, what is happening here is an A, B, C, right, D, E pattern before we come back down to that middle point, something like that. We could still be seeing a few bounces here and there because this pattern seems, it looks like a zigzag, but small degree moves. I don't trust them, especially when I see something like this happening. Could be potentially a B wave expanded, which could result in some stops being hit, therefore causing a bounce like we saw last time when we made a new low, and then simply put the the CDE pattern potentially new low, whatever it takes to make the zigzag, right? The final zigzag for this weak wave C. So that's basically my take on that. For now, we'd be patient. I wouldn't be selling anything. In fact, I'd just be buying here, buying there, buying everywhere. Because incoming inflation, incoming more stimulus, incoming more money printing, incoming. That's the whole point of what they're doing with the Fed, with the economy. That's the whole reason behind it, right? Once you start to see the writing on the wall, you start to understand why they're doing all this, why everybody has to wear a mask, why we have to create such a big deal out of something that kills less people per year than most common illnesses and diseases, right? More people die from bowel cancer and other cancers and diseases, and but no, and some skin cancer and all sorts of stuff. But no, we got to focus on COVID because it's infectious and it's like contagious and blah blah blah. And big pharma has to make their money too, and we need more money for money. We need to print more money and inflate the market even more, because that's just, if we don't do that, the whole thing collapses, right? So what do you think they're trying to do? You decide for yourself. It's obviously a game that's being played out before our very eyes. We're living in pretty crazy times. So buy every dip that you can and hold on, right? Because this thing's going vertical, and especially cryptos. Cryptos is going vertical soon. I don't care about the Dow Jones, what it does. It's probably going to be laughable. It's correction after this D wave ends. Thinking that it's going to crash to GFC 2.0 in a wave 3 with the kind of stimulus they're pumping in now. They've got the approval to pump it up. That wave E will be laughable, and it'll be another buying opportunity again and again and again until the end of time. So to me, forget about selling, right? You sell, you lose. All right, you keep buying. It goes lower, buy it again. Lower again, buy it again, buy it again, right? Nothing is going down. This is an inflationary market, right? What's the Fed doing? What did they just announce? They're going to rise interest rates. Interest rates are going to rise, right? Here in Australia, same thing, right? It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's going to happen, and it's going to pump everything, right? Everything's going to pump very soon, right? It's just a matter of time before it all just starts going vertical. Is 30 cents cheap enough for you? Is 20 cents cheap enough for you? I don't know about 30,000, right? Most people can't afford 30,000, but I mean, think about it. XLM, when you see what I have in the members section, Matthew, and Lay's P, welcome. XLM bottom, it will drop even at 10 cents. I hardly doubt it. I hardly doubt it. You can buy it at 10 cents. I just keep buying more. I buy all the way, right? You know what I mean? Just keep buying it because it's all going up. Be patient. The market's going to keep pumping. The Fed's going to keep buying everything up. Everybody knows what the Fed's doing, so they're gonna keep trying to get out of the system, right? They're gonna make us all go cashless soon. So this is the way out. Finding an alternative to the central bank digital currencies that they're going to introduce to try and track your every movement, every expenditure, try and get rid of the black market, right? That's what they're trying to do, right? Are we talking years? Yes, this is going to unfold over the next several years, starting from now. Everything is going up constantly, right? Yes, we had a drop in 2017, but that was the largest drop you'll see. From now on, every correction is weaker until we head up into a wave 3, which just basically goes vertical, right? Just vertical. I wouldn't buy any other coin at the moment. I would not buy any other coin. That's based on my research. You can, but you'd have to learn the pattern, right? That's what learning is all about. Max dump. Yasin says max dump XLM is 19 cents. Yeah, look, I'm telling you, this is not going to go much slower. And if it goes lower, buy more. Just buy more, right? You can scale in if you want. Wait for the highs to be broken, but it's going to cost you more, right? If you think this is going to go down, 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 you'd be waiting forever, right? You'd be waiting forever, right? Last time we had that live stream, right? We talked about the Dow Jones, right? And I said the Dow Jones will bounce at the white line, right? And it was still heading down at that point. Look what happened. It bounced, right? Where's that going? Where's the Dow Jones going? Is that going to crash now? Is it the end of the world? No, it was just a B, C, D, E pattern, right? And now we're going to go to the moon, right? So if the Dow Jones is about to move up, don't you think Bitcoin's about to move up? Don't you think the XLM's about to move up? Right? Don't you think that we're about to just basically start heading up generally because of this inflationary environment where they keep printing money? I don't care if it dumps to 19 cents. I just keep buying it. Right? If you know the pattern, just buy it. Right? You want to look at XRP quickly? Going to have to wrap this up pretty soon. Right? It almost looks like a 5-wave move as well. Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. One, two, three. Yeah, basically the same deal, right? Is XRP oversold? Do you think? Do you think? Do you think XRP is oversold? It's looking pretty oversold to me, right? So it's people who are dumping now, dumping everything that are basically going to be trying to buy it back up the top, right? So it's up to you what you do. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying that everything's going to shoot up soon. So be careful of FUD. I learned the hard way, did a lot of research, did a lot of investigating using RS Wave. and found that this thing is just getting ready to pump. Typically, if a correction doesn't come back to the end of wave one, that just means there's more strength in the market. It's going to pump. The fact that this corrected above the end of wave one, to me, is a sign that it's expanded. It's got a lot of, strength. It's going to pump, right? Just because it looks not, wobbly now, when that correction finally ends, right, whether it be here or whatever, and it breaks that high, specifically for this coin, if it breaks that high, this thing is going vertical. It's just going to go vertical. So it doesn't matter what you buy, right? It's going to go vertical. Yeah, Gensler, he's coming to save the day. Right? So if you think something so oversold is just going to keep cratering, I mean, we were looking at a daily chart there, not a 5-minute chart, right? I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's a daily chart. Buy when there's blood on the streets, right? When everybody's fearful, be greedy. Do we have to bring out the quotes, right? This is a buying opportunity. Yes, people are selling, and then some people are buying as well, right? Once this bottoms out, people will see it go up and they will try to buy it again at the highs they would have lost, right? So people just keep buying. Why would you sell? There is nothing to say that this is going to crater when everything is being pumped. Inflation is literally going to rip the face off short sellers. All right, let's go to the bond yield chart. What has the bond yield done since March 2020? Look at the bond yield chart. Can you see what this is doing? Right? Can you see what this is doing? Right? These are old counts, by the way. I have a different chart for this. I think it's on the TV, on my TV chart. Actually, can I switch to that? One sec. Okay, we're going a bit slow now. Okay, so zoom out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2. This has not been updated. 2. 3, 4. Right, 5. Right, that's a low for bond yields. Okay. Now, this is going to break wave 4 to confirm this. It's moving up. It's starting to move up quicker. That means interest rates, once they break a certain threshold, right, that's going to kill the tips market and basically start inflating. It's going to inflate everything, right? What is this pattern? What is this pattern? This is on my program, right? This is a C wave. This is an ending diagonal wave C, right? Of a B wave to the downside, right? A B wave to the downside. Sorry, a C, yeah, it's a B wave. It's a C wave of a B wave, right? So when I say B wave, one of these, right? I have a pattern. I have a chart that goes back to 1100 AD, right? And the pattern is there. RS wave goes back. You can go back a long time, right? What comes after B wave down? C wave up, right? This thing's going to launch. It's going to bring massive inflation. It's going to basically destroy the middle class. And who's going to buy up all that debt? The Fed. The Fed will buy up all that debt. That's who's going to buy up all that debt. Okay. So understand that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people default, if the Fed is the one who owns the bonds. They just keep vacuuming, hoovering up those bonds. They own everything. They will own everything. If people default, they will own it. They will buy the market. They will buy everything. Okay, this is the world we live in now. Okay, what is the Great Reset agenda all about? You will own nothing and be happy. Is that the world you want to live in? Well, if you believe in the current system the way it's going now, then yeah, you better prepare yourself for what is actually being planned. If you don't own anything, then basically you're at the, you're being controlled by these people who are going to tell you how to live your life, and they're going to tell you how to live it, and you're going to have to listen to them because you won't have a choice. Welcome, CA. Can XLM reach $2 this year? Yeah, of course it can. Why can't it? Welcome backstage, Piper. Welcome, Hakeem. Thank you, Hakeem. The bigger the dip, the higher it goes. Well, in this inflationary market that we're living in, with unlimited money printing, Fed Powell literally admitted on 60 Minutes that they have unlimited ability to print money. Unlimited. They have the power. They have the congressional clearance to print until infinity, basically infinity and beyond. Right? It's like Buzz Lightyear is in charge of the Fed, right? Because they're going to print to infinity and beyond. Right? They've been trying to suppress this market for so long. Right? They've been trying to keep bond. Why do you think this pattern is an ending pattern? Because they've been doing this since 1981. Right? They've been doing this since 1981. The interest rates have wanted to go up, right? But they've suppressed them. They've brought them down. Why? Because they're inflating the market. Some people call it deflation, right? But really, when you look at what they do with the money they print, right? What are they trying to do? What is the end game? What is the end goal? right? They are rigging the system. That's what they're doing. And now when they actually default, when all these people who have these huge loans default because of rising interest rates, like I said, who's going to buy that up? This is inflation on the way, massive, huge, massive inflation on the way. So why would cryptos go down? Why? They wouldn't, and they're not going to. Okay, they'll go down a little bit, just keep buying it. Okay, just keep buying, hoover it up. Hoover it up. Okay. Yes, drops look scary. Wave C, long wave Cs look scary. But there's nothing to indicate this is a wave 3. Right? There's nothing to indicate that at all. Okay, wave 3s don't start off like that. I've told you many a times. This is just a wave 4 with a wave 5 that's trying to equal the length of wave 3 because wave 1 is the shortest. Okay, so it's getting there. It's basically there with a long wave C. Right? If this is going to be wave 3, then yeah, it'll keep dropping forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Right? But if you go and look at the XLM BTC chart, right, it's doing the same thing, and it's actually just creating the same length as wave 3 because wave 1 is the shortest. And we are oversold. On the daily, we are oversold. Now, I am not a financial advisor. Just remember that I am not. I just have a methodology that I believe in, and it has led me to this conclusion that, especially regarding interest rates, the Fed money printing, the Dow Jones, the trajectory of that market, it's not going to end. They will not lose control. They cannot lose control of the power they have over people. They will not lose control over you, the system. Central banks will not go away. They're going to be in control. The people who have the fear, well, that's on purpose. They put the fear in you. So whenever you see red candles, you sell. But then what happens is the market bounces and you regret it, right? You regret it. Okay. Now you're never going to catch the exact bottom, and who cares? Just keep buying, because in a few years' time, you will be well off. You will have more money than you started with, right? You will have way more money than you started with. We're living in, times where we're seeing exponential growth in these markets, in cryptos. Exponential growth will happen. It'll happen more in some cryptos than others, which is why I like XLM, right? Give it to me at 27 cents. Give it to me at 30 cents. Give it to me at 40 cents. I don't care. It's cheap. Do you know where it's going? If you knew where it was going, this is just ridiculous talking about it, right? There is no point talking about it, right? It's got nothing to do with the current pattern. Okay. Yes, we can determine that we're in a corrective pattern. All right. But see how I put the question mark here. I'm not going to tell you what's up. I'm just going to tell you this is a correction, part of something that's coming. Right. I'm not going to give you targets. You know, I don't want people asking me repeatedly, when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? I'm just telling you what you should expect, what comes next, and where it's going, right? It's going higher. That's my only answer to you. Okay. So for now, we can watch this drop. If you think it's going to drop, then you do whatever you think you need to do. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can advise you that this is a C wave. And when Bitcoin makes its final low, which it looks like it's pretty close to, right? Pretty close to. We're getting some pretty serious rejection from that midpoint now, where I said before, right? Look at that rejection of that midpoint. Man, I said we'd touch that midpoint, right? Now, if that is the C wave that I mentioned before, that there could be, then that could be serious rejection right there, right? If we see Bitcoin go up above the start of or the the end of wave 4 up here, like this one here, then you can bet that XLM is going to turn around and do a turnaround jump shot on this market, right? And score. Okay. Apart from that, if it's potentially still in a B wave, right? Because of what XLM is doing, it's gonna probably not make a new low if this thing starts moving up, because it would have already completed its pattern. Bitcoin might be lagging slightly behind it, or this could be, right, a type 2 zigzag. Cannot tell you for sure unless I see some more waves, because we need confirmation, right? It's simple as that. But like I said to you, that midpoint of that channel, we need to see it touch that, and it did. And I see a massive rejection there. In fact, so massive that that candle just closed on the 5-minute chart like a massive hammer candle there. So I know that's only on the 5-minute, but that's a pretty long wick, right? If you go to the 1-minute chart, what did that just do? That's actually like a massive hammer on a 1-minute chart that literally went down just 5%, nearly 5% on that one wick, right? So to me, wicks like that, they usually mean that there's going to be a bounce. That bounce could be for wave C, or it could be the end of the move, and now we just start moving up. So if Bitcoin starts shooting up, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see XLM finally stop messing around and also turn around after a 5-wave move. That looks like a 5-wave move there. So we just need to see it go back into that channel. We are oversold already. So, these kind of things, not always easy to predict. But like I said to you, just keep buying. That's why I tell people, if you don't have confidence, scale in. Scale in. If you want to scale in lower, do it lower. If you want to scale in higher, do it higher. I give you clues. You can take the clues. I'm not saying buy it all at once. Just because I do something doesn't mean you have to do it, right? If you learn the waves yourself, then you can figure out whatever you want to do. You do it yourself, right? But I'm only just giving you my interpretation of the waves using Arias wave. So therefore, you've got to take it with a grain of salt until we see way more confirmation. But like I'm telling you, even Greg Marino says it, just keep buying everything. Keep owning those assets, because in the future, they'll be worth more than you could imagine. CA asks, is 5,000 XLM enough to buy a house? If you wait long enough, I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised in the slightest. Is that a fact, Lays P? Yeah, mediums and astrologers, they're probably like detecting, you know, the sun spots and the cycles of the sun and all this stuff, and the moon. And hi, Gabriel. That is so true. That is amazing. Definitely would like to hear that song. That's the kind of positivity you need. Fear for what? We live in an ever expanding universe. If you don't think you deserve abundance in an ever expanding universe, that's just your own thoughts there pinching off your supply. So if you want to pinch off your supply, you go ahead. But this universe is forever expanding. So it's up to you how you treat it, because you get out what you put in. That's right. Just think about what most people are doing now. People who have no idea about the waves, they're probably just selling out completely and just, you know, thinking, oh, it's all over. The news says that cryptos it's in a bear market. It's never coming back. I don't know what people hear from whatever. You know, I know it can be tough when you lose money, right? But, you know, just dust yourself off and understand that everything always goes up, except for when you're talking about currencies and that, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about cross pairs and currencies here. Fiat money is garbage. Forget about that. I'm talking about assets, right? Whether they're digital assets or real assets, right? Stocks, shares, you know, eventually everything goes up because of inflation, right? Because of the money printing, right? People think that the value goes up of these things, but it's actually the other way around. It's money going down in value, therefore everything else looks like it's going up in price, right? It's the chicken and the chicken and the egg scenario. You got to decide for yourself what is happening, learn the facts, and once you start to see what's going on, and you start to see those hammer and bounces and all that sort of stuff happen, then you'll change your mind a little bit. Okay, so if you want to let red candles dictate your life, then maybe you should change the color of the candle, right? You should change it to green and call the up and make the up candles red, right? If that fixes your psychology, do whatever it takes. Because in the world we live in, right, it's all a freaking illusion. It's all a game. Just play the game right, and what awaits you is very favorable. To those that have fear will always lose, because they'll always get out and go back in at the wrong time and lose money, and then eventually lose patience, and eventually just end up gambling and then forget about it, right? But we're not dealing with the poker machine. We're dealing with an inflationary environment with unlimited money printing. Can you think about how crazy that is? Unlimited money printing. That makes everything go up in the long run, okay? The only reason this is taking a dump right now, I'll give you one reason now, right? It's the US dollar going up, right? It's been going up the whole time. The crypto's been going down, right? Okay, but that story comes to an end eventually, and eventually we start to creep down, right? Will there be a shock, another shock coming in the markets, right? You know, these are the types of things we talk about. Okay. It's the kind of things the bullish series covers. If and when we see a shock in the market, right? The Dow Jones might puke, right? But cryptos will shrug it off most likely, because the more they print that money, the more inflation they create, right? And eventually the whole thing just goes up in terms of the Dow, even though it might puke for a bit, right? It'll basically be fixed up with more money printing, and then eventually the US dollar will just go down and everything will just keep going up. So this is sort of stuff I teach in the bullish series. It's free on my channel, on my website. We never made a new low. I don't think that's the start of a new trend up. If it is, then yeah, expect more downside, but we haven't made the target yet, so I doubt it's going to happen yet. In fact, I think this thing's going to grind out for a while now. You know, like it's been grinding. It's getting more grindy as we go. And it's just going to keep grinding. God knows how long it will grind for. And also how long it will go for. So, but this is I believe this is a wave E, the last wave of wave 4. Once this ends finally, which should be soon, that should ease the pressure off the markets a bit, and then we'll start to grind down lower, which will just help with the markets continuing higher. I'll keep you updated, but anyway, that's it for now. It's a shakedown. It is a shakedown. Don't believe the FUD. Just understand the bigger picture, and that'll keep you safe at night. All right, so good talking to you guys. Hope you enjoyed the live stream and the coverage. I hope to talk to you soon.